So I had like 20 something clients in 4 months paying me $500 to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Google released this algorithm update called the Penguin. All my clients disappeared from page one overnight and I lost my business. It was like $50,000 a month. I remember seeing a quote from Zig Ziglar. He said, you know, you can have all you want in life as long as you're helping other people get what they want, right? And that resonated deeply with me because up until that point in my Navy career, I had made E6 in just 5 years, which it takes the average person 12 years to make E6, which is like a high level supervisory position. You know, the little mom and pop cafes or coffee shops?
Yeah.
And there's always like a cork board, right? And everyone like will pin their business card. Stop it. I would go in there and take all the damn business cards off the whole board, and I would go home and start calling every single one of them.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Marketing Podcast. Today we have Douglas James coming in, one of the OG marketers in the space. This guy's done over $80 million of personally tracked revenue in his own company, all digital marketing. Even when I first started getting into marketing, this guy's face was everywhere. He was teaching a lot of people how to get into the marketing agency world. And it's really cool to see him go from like basically a minimum wage job in the Navy to completely transforming his life, learning digital marketing, and then now teaching tons of other people to do digital marketing. And now I believe he's got a 9-figure software company right now that he'll be able to sell, that he's building, and taking us through the entire process of how he did it and lessons that you can learn from it to be able to do the same exact thing. So with that being said, I know his story is going to blow your mind, so enjoy the episode. Doug, welcome to the show, bro. Thanks so much flying out from California, visiting our city in Atlanta here, coming on the podcast. Good to have you on, bro.
Absolutely, bro. Thanks for having me. It's my first time here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people listening to you in this podcast may not know who you are. So I'd love if you could kind of give a background. Obviously, you know, there's some pretty crazy achievements. You've done some pretty insane numbers in the info marketing space. To me, at least, you're one of like the OG marketers in the space. I was telling you this earlier. My wife, when I first started, used to like send me your videos and be like, "Oh, this guy makes really good ads. Like, you should do something like this," right? And so, in a way, you know, kind of looked up to you and for inspiration, some things back in the day too. Now, obviously, I look down on you, obviously. No, just kidding. But yeah, if you want to give a background, you know, just for context for people, and then we can kind of jump into your story and how you got here, and then what you're doing right now, because what you're doing right now is out of this world interesting.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate it again for having me. Atlanta's actually been really good to me, so it's cool to hang out with you and some of our friends. But yeah, man, I've been in the space for 11 years. You know, I got into digital marketing initially because I was in the Navy serving active duty for 10 years prior, and I didn't want to be in the Navy for, 20, 30 years. So it was way back then. I went on this deployment back to, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and the Philippines. It was a humanitarian mission. And we were literally building schools for kids and rendering free medical aid to all these countries and islands. And it was really some of the best work I've ever done personally as like a human being. So I got back from that deployment, just was like, dude, I have like a newfound understanding of like my value of time, the value of time, right? And I wanted to be able to like give to organizations and make a lot of money and give financially, not just with my time. So I started listening to Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar, a lot of these guys. I remember seeing a quote from Zig Ziglar. He said, you can have all you want in life as long as you're helping other people get what they want, right? And that resonated deeply with me because up until that point in my Navy career, I had made E6 in just 5 years, which it takes the average person 12 years to make E6, which is like a high level supervisory position, right? I could lead hundreds of people. So anyway, the way I had success in military was just helping my sailors make rank. I just took people along with me. So for me, getting into digital marketing, I just figured out how to help local businesses get new customers, ran ads for them.
How'd you even learn to get in ads?
Man, I think I was just up late one night back in 2014, and I was just like, I want to kill my job, fire my boss.
Yeah.
I was legit searching stuff like that. And it landed me on, first it landed me on SEO. So I got really good at ranking websites on Google.
Yeah.
So I had 20 something clients in 4 months paying me $500 to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
I was making my annual salary in a month in 4 months. It was insane on what the Navy was paying me. But what happened was Google released this algorithm update called the Penguin. They call it the Penguin Killer because the way I was learning how to rank websites for some guy on YouTube was like black hat, and I didn't know what that
yeah.
So basically all my clients disappeared from page one overnight, and I lost my business. It was like 50 grand a month. I lost it overnight.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I was like devastated, right? But I immediately just switched to paid ads. All my customers basically gave me the middle finger except for like 3. And I started to run ads for them on Facebook and Google. And of course I sucked at it, right? So I was able to get one client success though. It was a party bus company, limousine party bus. And I end up making them like an extra, I don't know, 30 grand off like 4K ad spend or something.
Yeah.
And they cut me a check for like 7K. And that's when I didn't still believe, hey, I can do this. So I just, scaled that agency and we did crazy stuff.
How'd you even get customers when you first started? Like even the SEO clients, like that's probably the biggest hurdle I see people having trouble with.
Yeah. And you know what? What I'm going to tell you isn't going to sound sexy.
Yeah.
And there's definitely more advanced, better ways to do it that we probably do today. But back then I was in the Navy, right? So I got like an hour and a half break. I would legit go change into like, some nice clothes, and I would have a briefcase, and I would go into businesses on my lunch break in the Navy and just ask for the owner and say, hey, I have a stream of referrals I want to send to this business. Who's the best person to talk to is the owner here. And I would get an appointment doing that probably 30% of the time, like when I showed up in person.
Yeah.
And that's how I was getting clients. And then I started to email. So there was something called Sales Genie. You could pay 50 cents and get a name, email, phone number of like any business owner in a targeted demographic area. I started to scrape that data too, and like just send out manual Gmails and then manual text messages from my phone to these business owners. And I would do the same thing. Hey, we're having an overflow of referrals for your type of business. We want to send them to you. Now, was I already getting leads for that business? No, but it was a way for me to get in the door.
Yeah.
And say, hey, this is how I do it. I run ads, and this is my packages, my services. And that's how I was getting clients back then.
Yeah. It's crazy because I think a lot of people don't realize that, when they look at the final product of someone who made it, someone who's done, 9 figures online, they see all these things and they always say, well, you've done that, so I can't sell the same way you have. And they don't realize, like, I was in the same boat you were. I was literally driving to businesses. I still have the book where I would map out like the 15 businesses I was going to look at. Mm-hmm. And at the time, MapQuest was like my best. I don't know if you ever used MapQuest, but MapQuest was like the best way. And then I'd basically GPS like the best route possible.
Yeah.
And then I drive to these businesses. Like today, I'm only hitting dental offices. So I would just keep the same lingo.
Yeah.
And I just bang out a bunch of dental offices. And if there was like a gym or like anything local in that plaza, I would just like walk up to them, get them all done at the same time. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, probably a third of the time you get the owner. Sometimes everyone's out on lunch. Sometimes there's just like weird timing.
Yeah.
But that's how you have to get your business. I literally was begging people. I was literally offering people free services and they were declining me.
Mm-hmm.
And now, we can command 30% of someone's business to be able to scale them up, right? So it's cool to see that. And I think a lot of people now are just like, that's too hard, or there's got to be an easier way. Let me just send a bunch of cold emails, mass cold email a bunch of people and all the shit that's just so easy behind the computer. But at the end of the day, if everyone's doing that, you're not going to stand out doing it that way.
I'll tell you one little unsexy thing that I used to do. The little mom and pop cafes or coffee shops?
Yeah.
And there's always like a cork board, right? And everyone like will pin their business card.
Stop it.
I would go in there and take all the damn business cards off the whole board, and I would go home and start calling every single one of them.
That's savage.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to take them off the board and put yours.
Oh, no. No. I did put my card up. Like I would take them all down and put like a couple of my cards. So that is a little bit savage, but that's how I would get a lot of leads too.
That's sick.
And a lot of them were real estate agents who are like the hungriest, most annoying people to work with sometimes.
The most disorganized group of people.
Yeah.
Ever. Everyone's a real estate agent, bro. I say 95% of people I know who are real estate agents are no longer real estate agents.
Yeah.
Just automatic assumption. When someone comes to me and they're like, hey bro, I'm just letting you know I'm into real estate now. That's my full-time thing. I'm like, let's see how long. Let's see. 12 months later. Hey man, guess what? I'm actually doing sales at the software company. I'm like, I thought so.
Yeah, there we go.
I thought so. So you did that. You got back on your feet. You started making money.
Yep.
Writing ads. And then what happened from there? Because you blew up. Like you got massive. I don't think people really understand, but you're doing what, like $100 million total?
Yeah, just over 100 million between everything that I got involved in. But I mean, from there I scaled. I ended up running ads for over 50 different small business niches. So all your mom and pop brick and mortar, the dentist, chiropractor, salons, gyms.
No niche, just everything.
Yeah, I just kind of went crazy, whoever was willing to give me money, and I got a ton of referrals too. So as soon as like I got results from one client, he had 2 friends that were also local business owners and stuff like that. So I scale that, and then basically I had the ads, the landing page, the copy, everything that was working for all these local businesses. So, and then I'll tell you from there, and I did very well, made a lot of money, man. And I was making 6 figures a month from that while I was serving active duty, which some people don't understand.
Oh, you still didn't stop that.
I started my entrepreneurial journey about 4 years, just over 4 years, while I was still tied to a contract. When you're in the Navy,
oh, you're in a contract.
You're in a contract. It's with the government. Like, you don't break that, So I had about 4 years I was doing this. So I was making money, ended up buying like a S63 Mercedes, like, freaking going to Armani every weekend. Like, this is like back 2016, 2017. Anyway, people start to notice. Like, I'm rolling up in this, $200,000 car on the military base. Like, who the fuck is
What's the military base back then?
So I was stationed in, I'm still live here in San Diego. We're in Atlanta right now, but my home base is San Diego. So I was stationed at the Navy Hospital, Balboa. So there's like 6,000 people that work there. And I was rolling up into that base with like this $200,000 car. So everyone's like, yo.
On what salary though? Like 40?
Yeah, $48K a year.
Cool.
Yeah, 40, almost 50K a year. With housing, maybe 55, 56.
Which honestly, like in other places, that's a survivable and fine salary. But in San Diego, you're cooked.
Yeah, I was paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. I was actually like 30K in debt when I first started.
Makes sense.
And so yeah, but needless to say, people started to notice like my lifestyle, started following me on Instagram, like, what's this guy up to? He's going to conferences, speaking and stuff. So I had a Master Chief come up to me. A Master Chief in the Navy is like, it's an E9. It's the highest rank you can go in the active duty.
And you said you were E6?
I was E6.
Okay. But
to go from E6 to E9 is a challenge.
Decade.
And it takes another 10 years, to do it on average. But I know people that have actually done it in like by year 13, 14. But anyway, he comes up to me, and and I'm in uniform and I'm working. He comes up to me and says, hey, H1's my rank, first class corpsman. I was a hospital corpsman, so I was at medical. And he's like, H1, I'm getting out the Navy next month. I've been in the Navy for 25 years. I'm 45 years old, and I don't want to sit in a classroom full of 19-year-olds. Can you teach me how to do what you do? I heard you make money. It's really inspiring. Like, teach me. And I'm like, 100%. So what I did was, I went home that weekend. It was on a Friday. I went home and I literally just started to document my whole process. How do I get a client? How do I use Sales Genie, scrape the leads, call? What messages do I send them to get them as a client? I created a sales script, everything. And I recorded everything in a course. It was the shittiest course you've ever seen in your life. It was probably like 14, 15 videos.
Yeah.
I uploaded it to Dropbox.
That's all you need sometimes though, bro.
That's it. So I put in Dropbox, I give it to him. He gives me $900 back. And I'm like, whoa, this guy just gave me like $900 for some videos. It took me like, I don't know, a day to do. And then he got his first client the following weekend, making $1,500 a month. Right. And I'm like, okay. He started to tell his friends, dude. So it basically just went like wildfire amongst everyone that worked there. My course was being passed around. My checkout page was getting binged for $900. And then it just went insane. And then what happened was it got back to like my chain of command, like my bosses.
Yeah.
And they were like, put me in a room and they're like, who the fuck you think you are? Like, selling these courses, running this business. Like, you work for us, the government. Like, you need to stop this now, or we're going to send you to captain's mast and kick you out and push you in the brig and take your rank from you and take your money. And dude, I was like, I was freaking out. I was like, holy shit.
Like the government.
Yeah. So I basically said, no, like, I'm not going to do that. Like, is there a paperwork or something that I need to do? And they were like, okay, route a moonlighting shit. So moonlighting is where you get a second job while you're working your first job. So you work, after hours. So I did that. And when I got the paperwork, it had 2 signature lines. It said employer and employee to sign.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's my company. So I fucking signed both lines. I give it to them and they were like, are you trying to fuck with us? Like, are you joking with us? I'm like, no, it's my company. Like, it's a moonlighting shit. What do you want me to sign? So basically, they put me up to go get kicked out the Navy, but thrown in the brig first for like 2 months.
What's the brig? Sorry.
It's military jail.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah, on base. It was BS. So long story short, you go through like a board of chiefs, and then you go, and if they feel like they want to take you to the next level, then you go to the XO, who's right below the CO. And then the CO has the final decision, right? So I went through the board of chiefs. They made me feel like the biggest piece of crap for having a business. They put me to the XO. The XO was like, hey, what do we do for this sailor to, try to get him approved? Like, he's running his business. He's showing up on time. Like, what's the problem here? And they said, yeah, we gave him the moonlighting shit, and he signed both lines. And basically the XO looked at my boss, looked at me, and basically was like, there's nothing in the UCMJ or in our regulations that states an active duty service member can't have a business. There's no formal request for
it's
that.
your opinion.
You're right. So he looked at me and said, HM1, you're free to go. Have a nice day. And I turned around and I just walked out, and dude, my bosses were like steaming.
Oh, steaming.
Dude, they were
After everything they went through to get on you too.
Yeah, they were steaming. So anyway, got out of that, dude, and I was like, okay.
What did they terminate the contract? Like, what happened? You just kept serving till it was over?
I kept serving. They put me in a small clinic, gave me no responsibilities. I just showed up in my uniform every day.
Even better, low-key upgraded.
For 4 or 5 hours a day, I showed up in uniform, basically did nothing for
They just wanted
2
you
years.
not influencing the other guys.
Exactly.
I think that's what
They were jealous, dude. There was it. There's something my mentor told me. It's there's 2 tyrants of leadership. When you have success and you start to make money or better yourself and create space between you and other people, they'll either scrutinize you or expect things from you. So when I started to elevate and make money, I got tons of scrutiny from my superiors and even some family. They're like, dude, why don't you just stay in the military? You have a good thing going. You made 86 in 5 years. You can be an officer, right? Like, why take that risk? And I was like, well, it's not what I want to do anymore. Like, I have this other passion. So I got all that scrutiny. But once I started to make it, what happened? I had a group of other people like, dude, teach me how to do that too. Raise me up to where you're at, right? So it's because of scrutiny expectations is the reason why I got into coaching. So you know as well as I know that there's a lot of freaking gurus that get a 900 square foot condo in Miami, and they're like, hey, I'm in the penthouse, right? And there's these people that are like faking it till they make it. It's like, no, and saying like, hey, I have this skill set that can change your life. Dude, I was minding my own business, running my business, and people were coming to me, hey, teach me how to do this.
And look, this is a big thing in this space. Everyone sees people selling stuff online, but they don't realize the amount of people that are selling stuff like courses and education online is because of that. Like, even with me, right? Mm-hmm. I started making money. All my friends in college and people that knew me because I was decently popular, I threw a lot of parties and shit in college. They saw Eddie post-college now. All of a sudden, Eddie's making 15, 20 grand a month, working from home on a computer, posting all these crazy ad spend numbers, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, yo, what are you doing? I want to be able to do that too. Like, you look like you're making money from home. And then all these people started asking me, and then naturally I filmed the course just to give to those people because I didn't have time to teach every single one of them over time. Mm-hmm. And then people started paying me $2,000 per course, originally $5,000, then $2,000. Then I just had a course, and it's not even like a course in my main business. Obviously, it's not even nowhere near. Yeah. Now I sell other people's courses is the irony. But like, people don't realize that that's the natural progression of anything. You get really damn good at something and you don't talk about it. People start asking you what you do so that they can learn how to do it themselves. Yeah. And then naturally you're like, well, this is also a massive opportunity in itself. Why would I decline hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to not teach people when also I'm doing good because they're literally fucking begging me to teach them? Yeah. Why would I be selfish and not teach them? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's cool to see that side because I think everyone just thinks, oh, guru, look, this guy makes all his money selling shit. Yeah, that's true for a lot of people.
I was against making a course. I was making money. I was like, sure, I'll teach you how to do it. So the only thing I could do was just go, So I've got, dude, it's funny the comments in my ads over the years is why do you sell this? Leave us alone. If it's so good, just make a bunch of money and do it. It's like, first of all, MFers like you wouldn't leave me alone and let me make my money. You wanted to learn, and I'm a very generous giving guy. The reason why I was successful in the military because I helped bring other people up. That's why I've done such big numbers because I built a culture and a team and brought people where I was going, right? So it's the same concept.
And then so you shifted fully from doing it for businesses to doing it to teaching people.
Right? Yeah. There was a point where, I realized how lucrative that was. Yeah. Right? When you're selling education and you're coaching mentorship, obviously that's a really great business. There's the impact side, but there's the, business side. So as things kind of went along, you know, people wanted more access. Doug, hey, can we learn from you? Hey, can we do group calls? You know, can we come fly out and see you? So naturally, I went from just selling like do-it-yourself courses to the done-for-you model. So I created like an online university where, hey, we run cohorts of 20 people every 8 weeks. It's, you know, just like college online. You have one class a week. You show up for 8 weeks. There's a live instructor. You can ask them questions throughout the week. And then we created Done For You, where it wasn't like done for you, sit on your hands and like do nothing. It was like, we will help build out your CRM, your assets, your client acquisition system, everything, and then even run your ads for you and help you close your first deal. And then from there, it was like Done For You plus come hang out with me for 2 days at my penthouse, and we'll do all that in 2 days, and we'll close the deals for you on the spot. So that was like the progression. So we sold packages all the way from 5K up to 50K.
Makes sense. So like just for context for people listening, in case you don't know how this works, there's like layers to products. So like first one is like DIY, do it yourself. That's like you sell them something fully hands off. I'm giving you all the stuff that you need. You do it yourself. Next step would be Done With You, which is more expensive, which is you do it yourself, but I will help you along the way. Correct? And then there's Done For You, which is like we will take off as much heavy lifting as we can and do the thing for you. So an example would be like real estate. I'll sell you a course. You learn how to go buy houses yourself. Number 2 would be like, great, we'll get on coaching calls. We'll review the deals that you're looking at, and then you go buy the houses yourself. And then number 3 would be like, we'll go find you properties that are really good for you, and then you pay us on the properties. So that'd be like, just for people listening so they understand the difference. Done with you, done, do it yourself, Done With You, Done For You, and the Ascension. Because like these offers up here start costing tens of thousands, whereas these ones down here cost $1,000 or less usually. And you know, there's an audience for each one. Someone who makes a lot of money doesn't want to go and learn all real estate. They just want to pay someone to find it for them, right? And someone who has a lot of time but doesn't have money is going to go on the other side of the spectrum.
Yep.
So just kind of making sure everyone understands that.
Know your stuff.
Hey, you know, I saw a couple of things. Okay, cool. So then what? I mean, how the fuck did it get to 80 million, $100 million over the course of time?
We just scaled it. I had a very aggressive marketing team, very aggressive sales team. I partnered up with basically both of them at the same time back in, I mean, our biggest numbers were between 2020 up until 2024 last year.
Really?
Yeah, and that's where we made like a majority of revenue. I've been doing the coaching stuff since
17.
No, probably 15. I started it early.
That makes sense because I started running ads in 14, and I started seeing your face in 16. I want to say 16, 17, 18.
Yeah,
that's probably where I saw you the most.
I did multiple 7 figures before we had these crazy numbers, or you know, up until 2020. And just
what was the highest year?
About 32 million.
That's crazy.
And 2022. Yeah,
that's solid. Obviously, you know, there's cost. People listening, like they see 32 million. They're like, holy fuck, this guy pocketed 32 million. So much cost, ad cost, team cost, closers cost, there's just a million things, fulfillment costs in the middle, etc. But I mean, 32 million is fucking insane. Most people will never see that money their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it even transacted through your accounts is insane.
Yeah.
So what was the key? Like what kind of funnels were you guys running? Like what did you do exactly to generate that revenue?
Yeah, I think this is the secret magic, I guess, but it's not really. We just kept it super freaking simple, dude. We just went from an ad to an email opt-in to a VSL to an application to a book a call. That was it. It's like a 4-step funnel.
For 4 years.
Yeah, basically for 4 years.
What was like the hook? Like, because everyone's selling how to get into marketing, how to agencies.
Yeah.
You got people like Billie Jean and
this is the unique
Dan Henry.
Thing. Yeah. Everyone's got their thing. This was my unique angle. Okay, so I've been a dad for 5.5 years. So we used the dad hook, we used the husband hook, and I was a military veteran, and I was in the medical field. So those were 4 like huge leverage points from like a credibility standpoint where we could connect with such a vast group of people, right? So veterans and military, there's about 17 million in the United States.
That many?
Yeah, there's a lot. Veterans. There's about 1 million active duty, and there's about 17
Yeah, of course,
million.
We had 17 million soldiers. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, yo, pull up on us.
Right? No, you only got like 1 million people that can hold a gun right now for the government. But like there's 17 million that are retired. So that's a massive.
It's still a massive pool.
Massive group of people, right? And then medical field, right? So a lot of people trust what their doctor has to say. So I'm coming from the medical, and I was a lab tech. So I was basically the guy that took any of your body fluids, put it on the machine, and tell the doctor what was wrong with you, basically.
So is your list primarily like those kind of people, medical, veteran, etc.?
Yeah. So the other niche, so I was able to relate easily to those 4 groups of people: dads, even the wives, and husbands, the medical field and military. But the other niche that we got into heavy was real estate. So I took the angle of like digital real estate and virtual property rentals. So when you hear like virtual property rentals, like you think, okay, property rental, I know what that is, get a rental property, but he's talking about doing it virtually. So it created like this interesting hook where like we got in front of, real estate people, investors, and they're like, hey, we know the real estate space, but you're talking about, I don't need to deal with tenants. I don't need to like deal with the property itself. Like, what's this work from your laptop thing? So basically we just created these unique hooks and these demographics of people. And we went to them and we're like, hey, you've been doing the XYZ for 10, 20 years. You're a subject matter expert. You know real estate. You've been a nurse practitioner. You're a spinal surgeon, right? You're a military veteran. You served your country for 20, 30 years, right? You have a family. You're a dad. You have kids. What if you can take your 10, 20, 30 years of experience in your subject matter expert and then become the go-to lead provider for everyone else that's in your industry? So you have 20 years of experience to share with people, but now you're the badass marketing, guru for the person in that niche.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, was we basically took them and instilled this new belief system that you could be this go-to person in that industry, and then we would just bolt on all of our assets to them and just make them look like a gangster. And that's how we sold our big packages, our 20, really all of our packages. That's how we sold them. But the people that bought my 25, 50Ks, which is like, it's a massive paradigm, shift and a massive thing you have to get over mentally to sell that kind of package. But that's how we were doing it, because we were providing so much value and instilling such an incredible belief in them that they could do this. So
that's sick. So, I mean, just something like that's important to take out of this is like the layers of connection and marketing. Like you could go and you could sell a product, example, teaching people how to make ads online and, get leads for businesses, right? Like that's a really broad category, and it's hard to get people to tune into you because the noise is so loud. Then you refine it one layer deeper. We do this for veterans who are parents, who are subject matter experts, who are, and then you basically are defining that so deeply that now it's so easy to connect with someone, right? Like you can go and talk to divorced people as a whole, but it's like divorced people who have kids who are in this situation, XYZ, like you just take it so many layers deeper that it's easier to connect with those people. And then also reframing the thing, right? Like calling something digital real estate as opposed to a video makes a huge difference, because now conceptually, not only are they thinking it's something new, but when they figure out it's just a video, they have a shifted mindset of what the video is. Oh, it's virtual real estate. I never thought of it that way, and that makes sense. And now having a video is a more attractive thing to me.
Yeah.
And then last, cars work if you're selling courses, because you bought that fucking S-Class, and then all of a sudden everyone started buying the course. I'm just saying it works. So.
And I even have to shoot a video yet. That was for me driving on base, dude. So it did start to show up in my ads.
Yeah.
And it did help. But I haven't been the guy that leads with that. I lead with the other hooks. I'm a family man. I'm a husband, like those.
Which is actually stronger than the car stuff, in my opinion. Yeah. The car stuff also attracts just like such a lower level audience.
Yeah.
The sad part is, and the reality is, people need some sort of like justification that you're actually making money. And the easiest way to show people is like cars, watches, houses, things that they can, because they can't understand, what 200 employees is, or they can't understand what $32 million of revenue is. Like it's hard for them to fathom that, but they can understand that car is super nice and expensive. And I want that because it's so close. Whereas 32 million seems so far that they're like, I'll never have 32 million. But they're like, oh, I could get that S-Class, or I could get that $1 million home, or I could get that Rolex. You know what I mean? And so sadly, that's how you have to justify. Even on my social media, bro, like when I post valuable content, fucking whatever. Let's say I post a story and it's like super valuable information, 4,000, 5,000 views. Yeah. I post a fucking picture of my car, 15,000 views. Like, I'm like, dude, like there's no value, nothing.
Yeah.
Just a picture of my car and 15,000 views. Like, it's just so stupid, but that's how the world works, man.
Another simple thing too is like, me and Sonia, before we were married and right when we got married, we did a good traveling together. Locally we'd go to all the nice spots, Coronado Island, we would take little trips. And I would bring my laptop, and I was out the Navy by this time too. And I would just share, stories, and I would have her record content of me just chilling on the beach, working on my laptop. And people see that too as success, like, laptop lifestyle, time freedom. So I did enjoy doing things like that, because to me it was genuine, because I really like vacationing, and I really like spending time with my wife, and I'm making money on my computer and my phone. So that felt cool and genuine for me to share.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that attracts a much better audience.
Yeah.
You get lower refund dispute rates, you get people who have more reasonable expectations, more to fight for if they have kids, they're veterans, etc. Like, they can relate, they're fighting for it, and they understand that it's attainable versus just like, I want the car, and if I don't get the car, I'm pissed. You know what I mean? That's wrong expectation. So you do that for a while, and then, you're still doing it, I think, right? Are you still doing it?
We're still doing it.
It's just not like as aggressive as it used to be, I assume.
Yeah, I shifted and pivoted the model because I got into software about a year ago. So
okay, let's talk about the software, because I use this software. I use it for a bunch of my clients. I'll put the link below for people in the podcast. If you have some sort of like lead generation business, whatever kind of business where you're actually trying to qualify people based on the money that they have, we all use this software. So tell me about the software. Like, one, how'd you get into it? Because it's solving a massive problem. And two, like, what does it do? And like, I assume this is your really big play, because I could see this being massive.
Yeah, man. So the company that I created, and let me be clear before I even like get into this, I created the software not because I was even trying to sell it, to people like you or your clients or anything.
Yeah, you just needed it.
I needed it.
Yeah,
because we were spending so much freaking money on ads. I was spending $1 million a month on ads at one point. There was months I would lose like $1.5 million, like gone, like, and everyone's paid and fed, and I'm like, that's out of the reserves, right? And it was hard to find, like, we had to start looking at the P&L over quarters, because if I would just assume a month is going to be completely garbage, and then I'll maybe break even month 2 and then make money month 3. That's kind of how it was like playing out for like a while, and I was okay with that, but then the first time that didn't happen and we showed 4 months of consecutive loss, I was like, this is not okay. Reserves started to go down super quick. And that's where that's for me that I wasn't getting a daily P&L back then. Now I do. I get a daily P&L. I have a legit CFO on board. All that's good, but I had to learn that kind of like the hard way, So basically, we obviously did big numbers, but it was times where like the marketing team was like, hey, the leads are great. They're all qualified. They make this amount of money on their application, right? So they're optimizing for what humans are putting on an application, and we know humans lie.
Yeah,
and they don't even know their numbers sometimes.
The broke ones put more money, the rich ones put less money.
Exactly.
It's a disaster.
So it helped a little bit, right? But then the sales team would take the calls and say, hey, the leads are broke. Like 80% of the calls or 70% of the calls we're taking, people can't afford like five or 10 grand or more. So I brought in the best. Who I worked with. I brought in literally the best of the best guys, and they're all amazing. And I just think that some of the communication and maybe some of the way that things were being managed, and I didn't have like that real hard like maybe CRO guy in the play. But we were also going through a time in the market where like the market was tanking, the economy is doing this and that, So I just basically was like, you know what? I think it was TMI, but I think I was in the bathroom, doing whatever I was doing. And I was like, man, I would really love to just soft pull people based off name, email, phone.
Yeah.
Like that's the information we're getting when people opt into our funnel for our webinar or whatever. And so I had a partner that was in the finance space. He's been doing underwriting for like 20 years. Right. So I went to him. I'm like, can we do this? Do you have your relationship with the credit bureaus? He's like, I don't know if we can. So we also had a team of PhDs, got with them. So after like a few months of beta testing, trying to figure this stuff out, we had a product and we installed it on our marketing funnel, installed it on my business, and it worked great. He had already had the technology and some of the initial things worked out, but I just came in with the marketing and strategy and the sales arm and the use case of everything, and we started to reveal people's exact buying power. So basically, what happens is it's called LeadFi, right? Right when somebody comes into your funnel or your website with name, email, phone number, all we do is we run them through our identity verification technology, and then we find out exactly who they are. And we get all the necessary information like date of birth, address. I know who their kids are, like freaking everything. And then we just go to the credit bureaus, our Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. We have relationships with them for over a decade through my partner, and we just get real time credit and financial data, right? So the main data points that we get that is most important if you're selling high ticket is like it's good to know their credit score. It's good to know we get how much money is on their credit cards right now, like in their wallet. We also get their annual income and their debt to income ratio. So what we do from there is, since we have underwriting algorithms, we take all that information and we decide how much money can we get them in credit cards, right? And so we write a pre-approval for more credit cards. What's big right now that a lot of our friends use, Klarna Affirm Afterpay, right? So we have the underwriting. So now we can underwrite and get pre-approvals for Klarna Affirm Afterpay, right? Or even bank loans, right? And so the lead comes in, it comes to us at LeadFi, we enrich all this data, we generate all the pre-approvals, and then we send it right back to the client's CRM in the contact record in custom fields. So now you're getting real-time data. Now you know exactly who has money and who doesn't have money, so you can just focus on people that have money. We take a more sophisticated approach because I've been in the space a long time, right? You know what a funnel does, sales process. So what we do is we inject it right into the funnel. So let's say you only want people to book a call if they have access to 10 grand or more. So when they're watching the VSL or in the webinar wait room, they click a button, right? The button, we hard coded, it's dynamic. So if they have 10 grand or more, when they click it, they can go to your book a call page. Let's say they're broke and don't have the money. When they click it, you can put them down like a low ticket journey. That way you're still monetizing them. Like a lot of people don't understand this, but like 40% of your revenue roughly should be coming from your low ticket buyers. Why? Because that's like 70-80% of your traffic anyway. Yeah. So you need to know how to like monetize them the right way, right?
If you treat them all the same, then you're not going to monetize them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing I've noticed: people hate knowing that they're being downsold. Mm-hmm. So like if they click on the high ticket and you're like, you're actually not qualified, like on the call, like, hey, I could tell you this, but like you don't have enough money or whatever. You could buy this other thing for $100. They're like so against it because they feel like they got DQ'd and they're like, this isn't the thing that I signed up for. Versus if you're pre-qualifying them yourself on your software, you send them straight to that page. They don't know the difference and they just think that is the product that's being sold. And they're like, oh, perfect, I can afford it.
Yeah.
So much different mentality too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could even like, let's say the lead comes in, let's say, because I sold a 5K, 10K, 25K package, right? So I want to route that lead to a calendar or setter or maybe even an automated webinar that sells like that particular product. Like I don't want the person that has only 10K, I don't want to show him my I don't know, let's say 25K offer. I want to show him my 10K offer, right? Or vice versa. What I'm trying to say is like if they have 25K, show them your highest price, show them like the product that matches their true financial capability. Don't try to undersell them. You want to maximize their buying power.
Yeah.
Right. So you can do that in the funnel. And the real cool thing too is we actually built API where you can feed back like 700 plus credit scores back to Meta and Google and target cold traffic. So the way we do that is we just feed the name, email, phone numbers back. You can create lookalike audiences. You can even connect it to Hyros. And in Hyros, you filter campaigns based off of highest revenue, right? We just put a filter on there and said, okay, which campaigns are highest revenue and then which are highest credit score, and you focus on the ones with the highest credit score. So we're seeing clients get an average 40% increase on the number of qualified leads booking into the funnel that way. And for us, qualified is someone that has access to 10 grand or more with a high credit score. So you were seeing like revenue go up at least 30% on average, but I have clients literally doubling revenue right now.
Looking insane. So do you have like a free trial or something we could give to people listening? Like what's the closest thing to a free trial you do? I know it's fucking expensive to give that out because you pay per lead.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to test the technology, we can totally do that. If they contact me and want to do a small data run, we can totally do that.
All right, cool. Just give me a link. I'll put it down below.
Okay.
And then that way people can get in on it because I'm sure a lot of people listening to this, there's a lot of like high ticket people that listen to this stuff. So would love to get them in. But last thing before we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you this question. I always ask people this at the end of the podcast. So if you had to give like your younger self, let's call it, Dougie Doug 10 years ago, right? Like one piece of advice. Let's call it like a fortune cookie. Like just one, doesn't need to be super small fit on a fortune cookie, but like one takeaway piece of advice to your younger self that looking back 10 years later, you could be like, man, if I knew that back then, or I thought this way, my life would be in a significantly better spot, what do you think that piece of advice would be?
Oh man, it's kind of like, the question's kind of like, what would you change, right? And if that was the direct question, my answer is what people don't want to hear. You don't want to change anything because you're happy where you're at. Like if it wasn't for, people scrutinizing me or expecting things from me, I would have never got into coaching. And if it wasn't for the coaching and me scaling up this company like I did and losing my ass on ads and making a lot of money at the same time, I would have never found LeadFi, right? So there's a quote that's kind of coming to mind right now, and I love this quote, and I think about it every single day. It's by Virginia Satir. She's like this legendary author. It's called what it says. It's most people choose the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty, right? So in my mind, I think of two doors. Like one behind door number one, it's like, the life as you know it, the same car, the same job, the same circumstances, kind of like the same crap you deal with every day, but
Comfortable misery.
The comfortable, you're comfortable at, but you're like miserable, right? But you're not willing to change it. But door number two, it's like anything with your goals, dreams, aspirations, all the things you want to do in life, everything is beyond in that second door. But it's miserable decision because you're uncertain of what you're going to get behind that door, right? So for me, I have to choose door number two every single day, right? And to be honest, I tell you this because I don't think I would necessarily change anything, or if there was a fortune cookie I could give myself 10, 20 years ago. But I think it's just this understanding that if I can give anyone like these two doors and have them consciously discern between choosing door number one or door number two every single day they wake up, and you put in that kind of perspective, I think it's going to really force you to look at your options and weigh what kind of life do you really want, So if I would have had this understanding, I think 2 years ago or even 20 years ago, it would have made a lot more sense what I was doing and who I was doing it for and what I was fighting for. Because back then I just knew I wanted to win. I wanted success, right? But I never had it presented to me like this. So I think that door number two is something you need to consciously choose every day. Even you have to go to the gym when you don't feel like you're going to the gym, right? Because it's good for you. You have to eat well because it's good for you. You got to take your wife out and date her because it's good for you, right? It may not be comfortable. You guys might have just gotten a big fight. You might at times maybe look at other women, or there might be times where your business is going to shit and things are going down, but you know what? You got to get out of bed and you got to do the things these are things that are required, right? So to me, door number two is required, because door number one, what is that? That's me going back to the Navy, which wasn't a bad thing. I loved the time I spent there, made a lot of great memories, but I fought out a crazy childhood we didn't get into either, so door number two has led and opened up a bunch of possibilities, brought me, you as a friend, and a lot of other incredible people we know. So I hope that answers your question.
Love it. So if someone wants to connect with you after this podcast, where's the best place to do so?
Yeah, Instagram, if you just type in Douglas James, I should be the first one with the blue check. My website is leadfi.ai. They can go check that out as well.
Cool. Douglas, thank you, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Loved having you on the show. Back in the day, one of the idols in the space, and now to be friends with you and be able to share ideas and collaborate on different businesses together. Fucking pleasure and an honor, man. So I appreciate you being on the show, and see you guys next time.
Thanks so much for watching another episode of the Bad Marketing Podcast. I hope you got immense value from it. And if you did, all we ask of you is that you share this with a friend that you think could find this very valuable. And depending on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on, please like, subscribe, or rate the podcast as best as possible. It really means a lot to us. We pour so much money, time, and effort into getting these guests here, filming all this, editing it, all for free, just to give you free value. And all we ask in return is that you just share this with people. You give it a positive review so that we can continue to reach more people and impact more lives with all this effort that we're putting in. With that being said, thanks so much for tuning into the episode, and I look forward to continue to provide you more valuable content moving forward on the Bad Marketing Podcast. Make sure you subscribe.